Hi everyone, today I am going to talk about something we do all the time without thinking, breathing. But breathing is not just a simple action, it's a complex process handled by the amazing respiratory system. We breathe in oxygen and breathe out carbon dioxide. But have you ever stopped and wondered what exactly happens inside our body when we breathe? How does oxygen reach our cells and how does carbon dioxide get out? That's exactly and what we will explore today. So first, what exactly is the respiratory system? It's the system made up of several organs that helps us bring oxygen into the body and remove carbon dioxide. It includes nose, nasal cavity, pharynx which is also called as a throat, larynx which is known as the voice box, then the windpipe which is called as trachea and the bronchi, bronchioles and lungs which contains millions of tiny air sacs called alveoli. When we breathe in, air first enters through the nose, where it gets filtered by tiny hairs and mucus to trap dust and germs. It also gets warm and moistened there. Then it travels down the pharynx and larynx, which helps in directing air properly and also helps in producing sound for speaking. From there, air moves down the trachea, which splits into two bronchi, one going to each lung. Then the bronchi then split further into smaller tubes called bronchioles and finally into the alveoli. Now, the alveoli are tiny balloon like structures surrounded by small blood vessels called capillaries. This is where the most important part happens, which is gas exchange. Now, let's see exactly how breathing happens. It happens in two main steps. First is inhalation, which is also known as inspiration, which is breathing in air. Then exhalation, which is expiration and also breathing out air. During inhalation, the diaphragm, which is dome-shaped muscle located below lungs, contracts and moves down. At the same time, the intercostal muscles between the ribs contract, lifting the rib cage upward and outward. This increases the space inside the chest cavity, creating a lower pressure in the lungs compared to the outside air. As a result, air flows in through the nose or mouth, then the pharynx, followed by larynx, and then enters trachea, then bronchi, then bronchioles, and lastly the alveoli. Now, in the alveoli, oxygen passes through the thin walls of alveoli and enters the capillaries. This oxygen binds to hemoglobin in red blood cells and is carried to all parts of the body. At the same time, carbon dioxide, which is waste from our body cells, moves from capillaries into the alveoli to be removed later. Now, during exhalation, the diaphragm relaxes and moves upward, and the intercostal muscles relax, decreasing the volume of the chest cavity. This pushes air out from the lungs through the same path but in reverse. From alveoli, then bronchioles, then bronchi, then trachea, from larynx, pharynx, and exhaled out from nose or mouth. Now, this entire breathing process happens automatically thanks to the medulla oblongata in the brain, which constantly monitors the amount of carbon dioxide in the blood and adjusts our breathing rate accordingly. It's fascinating that we don't have to think about it all, it just happens naturally 24 hours a day. Now take a moment and feel your own breath right now. Inhale, then exhale. That simple action is powered by a very smart system inside you. Now, after oxygen enters the blood, it binds to the hemoglobin in the red blood cells. From there, it travels to every tissue in your body, providing the oxygen that every single cell needs to produce energy and function. Meanwhile, carbon dioxide, a waste product of energy production in cells, moves back into the blood. Now it's transported to the lungs in three different forms. First, some of it is dissolved directly in the plasma, some attached to the hemoglobin, and some is converted into bicarbonate ions. Once it reaches the lungs, carbon dioxide moves from the blood into the alveoli and is exhaled out. But the respiratory system does more than the just gas exchange, maintaining the blood pH balance, then it producing our voice when air passes through the larynx, then it also helps in filtering out the dust and germs from the air we breathe, and lastly the warming the air so it doesn't harm our lungs. Now there are some things sometimes things don't work as they should and we can get respiratory diseases. Some common ones are: first is asthma. in which airways becomes inflamed and narrow, making it hard to breathe, especially during attacks. Second is COPD, which is chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, often caused by long-term smoking, pollution, or chemical exposure. This disease slowly damages lung functions. Then pneumonia, in which alveoli get filled with fluid, making it hard for oxygen and carbon dioxide to move properly. Then tuberculosis, which is caused by the bacterial infection that causes severe lung damage if untreated. And recently we have seen a COVID-19, which is also a respiratory problem, a viral infection that affects the lungs, sometimes seriously damaging lung tissues. But the good news is that many of these diseases are preventable. Some things like not smoking, avoiding polluted environments, practicing good hygiene, and getting vaccinated can keep our lungs healthy. Now, sum it up, the respiratory system is one of the most important systems in our body. It helps us take in life-saving oxygen and get rid of waste carbon dioxide, produces sound, and protect our body from harmful particles. Even though breathing seems so simple, it is actually an incredible process carefully controlled by the brain and involving many organs working together in perfect harmony. So, next time you take a deep breath, just remember your body is doing an amazing job behind the scenes. Thank you so much for watching. Stay healthy and breathe well.